Viewers, amid the ongoing and escalating tensions between the executive and the judiciary, President Droupadi Murmu has fired 14 pinpointed questions to the Supreme Court of India. This is in response to the top court's April judgment in which the court set timelines for the president and governors to decide on a bill passed by a state assembly. The questions have been raised under Article 143 that empowers the president to consult with the Supreme Court on matters that involve constitutional or public importance. Now, the reference made under the president's power to seek the court's advisory opinion questions whether such timelines prescribed by the judiciary can bind constitutional authorities like the president or the governors. Let's quickly take you through the 14 questions that have been raised by President Droupadi Murmu today. Look at this. This is question number 1. What options does a governor have under Article 200? That is the first pinpointed question by President Droupadi Murmu to the top court of the country. The second question, must the governor act solely on ministerial advice? That is also a crucial question. The third question, can the governor's discretion be scrutinized judicially? Extremely important, remember. Question number 4, let's quickly get our viewers. What is the fourth question? Does Article 361 fully shield the governor's decision? That is also something that the President of India is asking the Supreme Court of India. Question number 5, can courts impose timelines for the governor to act? And this is a question that was asked a lot when this April judgment had come out for the president as well as the governors. Question number 6, can the president's discretion be judicially reviewed? That is also something that is being asked first for the governor and then for the president to be judicially reviewed. The seventh question is the president bound by judicially prescribed timelines? And that is for the top court to answer. Remember, will the president be also bound by timelines and, deadlines to have a decision be finalized? Question number 8, does president have to seek the Supreme Court's opinion when the bill is reserved? Because remember, the final approval for anything, for most bills, goes to the president. And that is why should the president be bound by the top court? Question number 9, can courts act before a bill becomes a law? That is also a very, very pinpointed specific question, something that the top court needs to answer, that the president has asked. Question number 10, does Article 142 allow overriding governor or president's decisions? Very important. Another question that Droupadi Murmu, the President of India, has asked the top court is, can a bill become law without the governor's assent? You obviously have to wait for the governor to give the final approval. 12th question, should interpretation questions go to a constitution bench first? That is, we'll have to see how the top court really answers all of these very pinpointed questions that the president has asked them. 13th question, can Article 142 contradict the laws or constitution itself? That is also something that the top court had referred to in the April judgment, and now the president is asking whether this particular Article 142 contradict laws or constitution of India itself. 14th question, are center state disputes resolvable beyond Article 131? That is the last and the most specific question that President Droupadi Murmu has asked to the top court of the country. Of course, we will have to see how the Supreme Court responds to all of these 14 pinpointed specific questions that President Droupadi Murmu has asked. Remember, this move follows the Supreme Court's April 8th ruling in the Tamil Nadu Government versus Governors case. My colleague Harish is joining us with more on this. Harish, extremely strong, pinpointed, specific questions put out by the President of India for the Supreme Court of India. What really happened there? What more details do you have? And when can we expect a response from the top court?
Yes, in fact, very rarely invoked provision has been invoked by the government. A presidential reference is very rare under Article 143. It's a mechanism where the president can seek opinion of the Supreme Court on a matter of law or a fact or on an issue of national importance. Remember, this issue has been raging. The Supreme Court, in fact, the centre had objected, raised several objections to the April 8th judgment, where for the first time the Supreme Court had set a deadline for the governor or president to act on bills regarding assent to bills, a 3 months time have been given to the governor or president. It's unprecedented, and the center had been calling it a judicial overreach, because remember, under Article 200 and 201, it does not prescribe a time frame for the governor or the president to give assent to bills, or if the governor or president is withholding assent to a bill, give reasons. This is what Supreme Court has said. So the center has said that if the Supreme Court is introducing it, it amounts to legislation which is the exclusive domain of the parliament. So the president and center clearly calling it a judicial overreach, and now in fact the presidential reference is a communication between the president and the chief justice. Now it's the onus is on the chief justice to form a 5-judge bench headed by him. If need feels so, there will be a hearing, and the Supreme Court will decide all these issues and give its reply to the president. So we'll have to wait and watch.
Right. So we'll have to wait and watch, Harish, how the Supreme Court of India responds to these questions and when that entire bench will be formed. But thanks very much, Harish, for joining us at the moment, getting us all those details. Viewers, we're slipping into a short break at the moment. News and updates will continue on the other side.